Hello friends, how are you? So today I thought to have this video session, this discussion on a very important topic which is related to education. And this is related to a very important topic related to education. And friends, if you noticed, let's come directly to the topic. Uh, in the last many years, one thing which we have noticed is that every year when class 10th and class 12th exams results are declared, especially of CBSE board, there is a lot of euphoria around it. And then in newspaper we read about the toppers, and we read about those toppers especially who have scored 100% score. So a trend has been observed in the 10th and 12th result, the class 10th and 12th boards results of CBSE, that every year the number of students who pass the board examination, it has been increasing. This year, the number of students who passed class 10th was around 91%, and those who passed class 12th was around 88%. And this has increased consistently over the last few years. Not only this, the number of students who score more than 99%, or I would rather say who score 100% marks, 100% marks, that has also been increasing. Every year we have a lot of students who score 100% marks. And similarly, students who score more than 95% marks, that has also been increasing. And this is very interesting thing to observe. And this raises questions that is our education, the standard of education in our country really improving in this direction? Is it really improving to the extent that we have now started producing students who are scoring 100% marks in their subjects in 10th and 12th? And not only are they scoring 100% marks in subjects like maths or sciences, but they also score 100% marks in humanities, in subjects such as those of English literature, or subjects such as those of other any other literature. There are around 800 subjects which CBSE offers to its students, from which the students can pick up. And we see that there are many students who score 100% marks. And it's very difficult to imagine how 100% marks can be scored in humanities and in literature subjects. In the meanwhile, we have some students joining up. Let's see who has joined so far. There's Piali, says hello Piali, says hello sir, hello Piali, and there's Bangmai Pati. Hello Bangbai, and there is Asif Ansari also now join. Hello all of you. So we've been discussing that how our education system is boasting of producing students who are able to score 100% marks. Now, the interesting thing is that on the one hand, while our education system says that it has produced students who are scoring 100% marks or more than 95% marks, and that has been increasing consistently, the number of students who pass the exams, it has also been increasing consistently. But some other surveys which are being conducted by independent NGOs, such as Pratham, it's a very famous, it conducts a report and called as ASA report, annual school education report. You can annual survey of education report. You can check that report, and that report will tell us about such observations, that how class fifth students, majority of class fifth students, they can't read what has been written in class third subjects. So the basic idea is that the students who are in our education system, especially those in government schools, they are not able to read what is expected. The basic idea is that many reports show that how students who are studying in a particular standard in our schools, they are not able to study or even read or even understand what has been written in the textbook of school students which are several standards, several classes below them. So this is a sort of paradox, that why on the one hand the number of toppers is increasing, or the number on the or the pass percentage is increasing. On the other hand, many surveys such as ASER report show the inadequacies and the absurdities of our education system. Now, this why does this take place? When CBSE brings out its results, and we see that the number of students who have crossed this 10th and 12th, or those who have passed, or those who have scored more than 90%, 95%, if the results improve, then it is a win-win situation for everyone. It is a win-win situation, first of all, for the student. The students are happy because they have got good grades. The teachers are happy because their results have improved. The schools are happy because now they can sell to their customers, that is the client, the middle class. The schools can sell dreams to the middle class that see we are increasing the number of uh, students. We are getting more than 95% marks. The bureaucracy, and especially the educational bureaucracy, the bureaucracy of education, is very happy because they are able to show that how our deliverables are improving, how they are able to perform better. Our political masters are also very happy. If you remember, the day to class 12th results were announced, Arvind Kejriwal, he especially tweeted that how the performance of students in Delhi government schools has increased, and a record number of students were able to pass the class 12th. Though he had been in news for working out on the education system in the state, but the point is that politicians, parents, the students themselves, the bureaucracy, the teachers, the schools, almost everyone is pleased, everyone is glad when the number of students is getting more than 90%, 95%, or the pass percentage is increasing. So, okay, so we have some more students joining. Shakama, hello Shakama, Shakakma, Sultana. She asked what is the topic, sir. We are discussing this topic that the large number of students every year we see get more than 95% marks or 100% score in CBSE boards in 10th and 12th. So is this a good trend? Is it something which we should be proud of? Or is it some disturbing trend which we should try to rectify? So is the larger, the higher marks, the higher score of the marks of students, is it because the benchmarks have been reduced? Or is it actually that the students are, that we have better students today? See, today we have many students who score so today we have many students who score more than 100% marks, or more than 99%, who score 100% marks, or who score more than 95% marks. But many years ago, around 10 years, 15 years ago, then if some student could score more than 90% marks, that was considered a very rare feat. Scoring more than 90% marks was considered a very rare feat. Scoring more than, even scoring first division was a great thing to do, especially in state boards. If you think 15 years ago, in state boards such as UP State Board or Rajasthan State Board, if you could get first division, more than 60% marks or 67% marks, that was considered a very great feat. Today, you score more than 90% marks, nobody is really interested to know about it unless you have really scored something like 99 or 100. Even I, around 15 years ago, uh, around not 15, around 15, 16 years ago, I scored uh, I scored 91% marks in my class 10th, and that was the highest score. It was the second highest score in the district, in the entire district. But today I'm sure there would be many students who would have got more than 95% marks in my district. And and in the years to come, this will only increase. So why this anomaly? And what are the repercussions of this anomaly? Meanwhile, there are some students who are showing me comments. Akshay is asking some questions. Akshay, and I understand your curiosity and your interest, and your good wishes also. Thanks for them. But let's come back to the topic again. So this win-win situation, everyone is winning, but something is missing out, and that is the standard of our he's that we have our standard of education system would be compromised if we keep giving these 100% marks and 95% marks on a more generous manner. And has it been the case? Actually, friends, I was reading an article on this. This issue was there on my mind for several days, but I read an article also on this, and that is a very wonderful article. The link for which I will share with you in the description after this video. You can all go through it. It was published in Indian Express, and that the writer was Shobhit Mahajan. He is a professor in Delhi University, and he had written this article. He often writes on themes related to education, and it was published in Indian Express. This, he says very wonderful thing. He says that the inflating marks, the marks which are inflated, they make the parents, the students, and the politicians feel good. But this race to the top is really a race to the bottom, which will have long-term consequences. So what he says, that this race to the top of the 100% marks, the race to the top is really a race to the bottom, which will have long-term consequences. And what consequences they are? They have diluted our standards of education. We notice this thing, that the examination system, the evaluation system has been modified in a way keeping in mind that the result should be good. And how that takes place? He points out, and it points out a very good observation, that in 10th and 12th boards, the syllabus of 10th and 12th classes is kept deliberately easier than the syllabus of class 9th and class 12th, class 11th respectively. So there's one more student joining, Mayur. Hello, Mayur. And also thank you, Shakama, for clarifying. So let's get back to it. So he says this, that if you consider class and if you consider the syllabus of class 12th versus syllabus of class 11th, the easier topics would be there found in class 12th, and the difficult topics would be there found in class 11th. Similarly, the difficult topics would be there in class 9th, and the easier topics would be there in class 10th. The reasons are because the schools, the toppers, and everyone is known by the result of their class 10th and 12th, not by the result of their class 9th and 11th. And that is why those more important topics, which are a little more complicated, they are kind of neglected, because how much marks you get in them, that really does not matter. So like and this thing is very I can relate it to it. I remember when I was also a student in class 12th and 11th, uh, in physics, we were studying physics in those days when we hello friends, sorry, there was a disconnectivity. So what the point which I was stating was that in class 11th, the more important topics in class 11th are there in class 11th. They're difficult also, and the easier topics, the relatively easier topics, they are deliberately kept in class 12th. So don't you think that it dilutes our standards, and it is a compromise with our the aims of our teaching? What is the point keeping deliberately easier topics in class 10th and 12th? The students will not read the difficult ones which are kept in class 11th and 9th respectively. So moving beyond that, now there's another tool such as been introduced, such as moderation. This concept of moderation, what this concept of moderation is, that in any paper, if the paper is very tough, and tough in the sense, if it the scores of students are less in that particular paper, then it will be subjected to moderation. The scores of students in that paper would be increased, and the end result is that everybody ends up getting good marks on an average. The CBSE now believes in the principle of doing maximum good to maximum number of students. This principle of doing maximum good to maximum numbers is a kind of compromise to the standards of education. So somewhere we need to look where we are heading, and in which direction we are heading. um, what is the purpose of an evaluation system? Is the purpose of an evaluation system only to produce toppers? The purpose of evaluation system is also to provide a benchmark which an outsider can use. An outsider, for example, a university or an employer or an industry can use those scores to determine who are more suitable for their jobs or for applying for positions in their places. But what we see is that almost every university or college they conduct their own entrance exam, because the sanctity of these 12th class boards has been very much diluted and nobody trusts them. So they are pointless. They're not doing any, they're not contributing in any good way. Every college and university and institute has to conduct their own entrance examination. So then what is the benefit of having these class 12th exam? This class 12th exam, so we should not dilute the evaluation process. We should not compromise the evaluation process. That is the message that is being delivered. And how it can be done? We need to do away with this idea of with this obsession of doing maximum good to maximum people. So it's okay if our democracy runs on the idea of majority, of doing good to maximum people, but these exams are not a place where we should think about doing maximum good to maximum people. So friends, these were the thoughts related to it. And friends, if we reflect a little more on this, we come from our society, the middle class. It aspires a lot. Middle class is known for its aspirations. And the middle class knows that way, the passport for success, the best way for success is good score in exams in 10th and 12th. And for that, they pressurize their children from the very beginning to get maximum marks in their education system. This puts up unrealistic expectations, and the burden of these unrealistic expectations often interferes with the emotional, psychological, and even physical growth and well being of the students. We are creating a kind of stratified society where the toppers are like in the caste system we had a stratification, like caste system was a stratified society. In our education system also we produce a kind of stratified society where the toppers they belong to one class, the average scorers they belong to other class, and for whole their life they carry this badge of scores around their neck. Every time in their jobs and in their applications they would be asked about this score. So one thing is we also need to consider to what extent we should restrict the identity of a person by the scores which he got in class 12th or class 10th. Besides this, we can also relate it to another concept which was brought forward by P. Bourdieu in Cultural Reproduction of Classes. And P. Bourdieu, who was a sociologist, he brought this topic of this. P. Bourdieu talked about social functions of elimination. And what he said was, if we take into account the P. Bourdieu view, they will provide a different perspective to our entire conversation. P. Bourdieu says that the working class students are more likely to fail in the examination system. That the students belonging to one particular class, they have an advantage over others in the examination and evaluation process. So people belonging to a particular class, like working class, they are more bound to fail. And because they fail, then they drop out of the system. They drop out of the education system. Why does this take place? Because the education system is biased in favor of the dominant class. The kind of questions which are being asked and the kind of syllabus which exist are of certain nature to which the dominant class can relate themselves to. The dominant class can relate to the syllabus of the syllabus and the examination system, and hence they will succeed a lot. And the working class students, they will fail, and that is why working class students will drop out. They will leave the education system. And the other thing is, other idea which he says, for the first is examination failure, and the second is self-elimination, which P. Bourdieu talks about. The self-elimination, that the working class parents and the children, they know that this education system has nothing to offer them, and their success in life is largely independent of what they are going to learn from this education system. So, due to this, we can say that the examination system has also been biased against the working class. Now, when the pass percentage in class 10th and 12th is increasing, or what we have been discussing so far, that CBSE is becoming more and more generous in awarding top scores to class 10th and 12th students. So, this differentiation between the classes would also tend to blur, because everyone would get a top score, everyone would get a high score. This will increase. But this is where P. Bourdieu ends. But now we will pick up the threads from here. And can we say this thing that this blurring, this apparently the blurring might take place, but is this blurring a really substantive blurring or an artificial blurring? We are just blurring this to make those students from working class or the poor students and the rich students, we just want to make all of them happy. We want to make the poor students and their poorer parents happy by telling them that, see, your wards have also got good marks. They're happy for the moment, but in the long term, what are they going to get out of those good marks? What really are they going to gain in life? Are they going to get good jobs out of those good marks which they have in their kit? Are they going to get admissions into top universities because of their good marks? Basically not. At that point of time, they will realize that how false their hopes were, the false hopes which they were shown by the system. At that point of time, they will realize that only elites tend to continue to get positions in universities as students or in some well and high paying jobs. So we need to go for course correction, and this high scores and this generous scoring which the CBSE has been carrying out is only kind of painkiller, is only a piecemeal effort to make people more comfortable. It does not resolve the malaise. It does not get rid of the sickness in our education system. It only creates a wheel through which we are not able to see those the sore and the crisis of our education system. With this, friends, I would like to end here, and we can also talk about a couple of more things. Maybe in some other day we will talk about them, such as since COVID-19 came into prominence, and since lockdown has been ensured, and education system has really got a setback, and this has raised question about the future of not only schools but of evaluation system also. What will be the future? And one thing which we have seen so far is that the gap which existed between the poor and the rich, between the city dwellers and the village dwellers, between the working class and the upper classes, those gaps will be widened because of the reliance which we are going to have on internet for education. The access to internet and the access to technology is very much skewed. Imagine a family where four people have four or even more smartphones and gadgets with them, electronic gadgets with them to get access to their education, and compare this with a family of 4 or 5 members who have only one phone or even no smartphone. How would they get access to the education? So this gap between the rich and poor will be increased, unfortunately, in this crisis of COVID-19. This we can discuss maybe sometime in future. But as of now, let's wind up the topic. The topic was that education system, the higher top marks or the higher marks, are they because of lower benchmarks? And if so, then this calls for overhauling the examination system. This calls for reforming, not only reforming, but completely revamping the examination system, and of course, the teaching process as well. With this, friends, I end up here. I hope this was beneficial to you. Thank you.